Tic Talk, Tic Talk, Tic Talk, Talk.
A real Celtic talk show by real Celtic fans from the Carluke Shamrock Supporters Club on Hail Hail Media.
Tic Talk, Tic Talk, Tic Talk, 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 Talk.
Hail, hail, and welcome to Tic Talk with the Carluke Shamrock Celtic Supporters Club. My name's Vincent, and this podcast has been recorded on Wednesday the 15th of May. You can find more information about the club at carlukeshamrock.com and details of the podcast and the other Celtic family podcasts at hailhailmedia.com. On the podcast tonight, we'll be looking back at the weekend's win over St.Johnstone and the champions receiving the SPL trophy. We'll look forward to our next match against Dundee United on Sunday. A wee chat about the Scottish Cup final. We've got quite a few hot topics to discuss tonight, and we'll finish off with our usual shambolic. So let's see who we've lined up for you tonight. On the panel we have
Peter, Kevin,
Brian,
Stephen.
The prodigal son has returned.
What son?
The prodigal son. Okay.
No Ford Richard tonight.
But the setup's not too bad. He's fairly happy with the biscuits.
Peter's not happy with biscuits.
Yeah, no, the biscuit of the day is McVities chocolate digestive.
Now with more chocolate.
So extra chocolate. Now you were moaning a wee bit about the biscuits.
No, I'm
you
not
were
a
thinking...
chocolate biscuit man.
Right, okay. So
you've eaten enough of them though? No.
Well, he's not wanting to be rude. He's not wanting to offend anybody.
You've got to mix in, Stephen.
See, to maintain a figure like that, you need to eat plenty of chocolate biscuits.
Says the man who's maintaining a
figure like that.
Well, I would say it's chocolate biscuits. He's cultivated that figure like that.
Okay, so that's the niceties over. We're going to kick off. Some of us were forced, nay imprisoned, to attend 2 First Communions on Saturday, so some of us didn't make the great celebrations, so I don't want to dwell too much on how I watched it. Although we did manage to have somebody's iPhone, so we had Sky Go, managed to watch a game discreetly at a table, but obviously we weren't there. So
discreetly at a pew.
This was after well, kick-off time. By this time we were in the bowling club, so we managed to do that. Okay, so who was all there? Who wants to kick off?
I think all the rest of us were here, even though Stephen was at communion. He managed to duck it and dive it.
I was at the same First Communion as you, and I made it.
But you ditched straight after the service.
I did.
I don't know if that's allowed. Is that allowed?
No.
Whose First Communion were you at?
I was in Mr. Swan's daughter's First
Right.
Communion.
Okay, so
actually
it's not a relation then.
No.
So you're allowed to ditch.
It's not.
I mean, I think it's commendable that you actually went to the mass, because I didn't go at all. I just said no. When the invite came through, I said sorry, no.
So you can maybe ditch one, but can you ditch 2? Do you know what I mean? If you're kind of double booked like that.
Do you know? I
You
don't
can't
know
be in
what.
2 places at one time. So what you could have done was tell the 2 of them that you were going to win, and go to the game and come back.
No, I can't go to yours, I'm going to theirs. No, I can't go to yours, I'm going to theirs, and then all of a sudden you're free.
In the same chapel.
I don't know what
But you
the
could have done
normal.
what Stephen did after the mass.
I don't know what the normal protocol is.
I mean, what in reality happened is we got the rota for the buffets, and there wasn't a clash, so I thought,
2 buffets,
we can go to both. So we just went to both. Anyway,
Still wouldn't like to be behind you in the buffet, even if it was the second one.
No stranger to a buffet, is that what you're saying? Okay, I'll give you the line up as I kind of kick off. We had Forster, Lustig, Izagiri, Wilson, Mulgrew, Forrest, De Bruyne, Wanyama, Ledley, Stokes and Hooper.
Brown made a big difference.
He
did. Really did. A bit of urgency, harassing, and a bit of skill as well on a few occasions, but just generally the balance of the team. I felt it was one of our best performances of the SPL was on Saturday, and I thought we played very well, and I thought he added a lot to the team.
Brought back a lot of memories for me. It was 15 years almost to the day when Henrik scored in the first
2 minutes.
60 seconds. I thought Joe Ledley put the ball away.
Very similar, wasn't it? Albeit a different foot. It was exact same end, same corner.
Side net and everything. So it kind of brought back memories of that 15 years ago when it was the most nerve-wracking football match I've ever been in my life. I couldn't get it. Start the second half, I had to go down and wander about down where the concourse was in the bottom of the north stand, thinking I'd probably just be alone, and find there was another 400 or 500 people almost eating their arms off with a box of scarves we went through that day. It's not a box of Turks tea cakes. But so that was good. I enjoyed that. I've got to say it was a bit disappointing that the weather was so Baltic, freezing, because I think it just kind of killed the celebratory atmosphere to an extent.
What was the atmosphere like? Because obviously I couldn't hear much on that.
The Green Brigade were usual, constant, and people coming in. But to be honest, during the second half, it was got to that point where you were. I mean, unless you were dressed for a November or December day, with gloves, hat, and everything, you were absolutely perishing cold.
It was almost the case at the end when the players were doing the lap of honour that as the last player walked past you were absolutely cold.
There was a picture in the paper, or I saw on Twitter.
It would have been the paper.
Of Neil, was it Neil Lennon?
But he's hung about.
He'd come round to that side of the park and the whole other side of the park.
That's because they went round the traditional Rangers end of the stadium up by the Green Brigade and round, and they had all the photographers behind the goal, behind a barrier. Right. So they then lined up. So what they had, the backdrop to all those pictures would have been where they had already walked round. And Stephen said once they get by you were by large people were straight out the door. It was absolutely perishing cold.
It was freezing.
Not as you said to me on Monday night, it was you pitied all the wee children, the players and stuff that were wandering about just with a Celtic jet top on and stuff like that, because it was absolutely freezing.
I saw Scott Brown at one point. His wee boy was there, and I saw him, and he had him just had his strap on. I think it was Daddy 8 in the back, and Scott Brown had him cuddled in as much as.
Did you see the interview?
Freezing. No.
So I watched the interview again. It'll become clearer why he had him cuddled in. And the wee boy was roaring his eyes out, roaring and crying.
Was it?
And the boy interviewed, I don't even know who it was that was in the pitch, and blah blah blah. And he's like, the wee man, what's up with him? He's like, I've seen you.
Was it Jack Young?
No, it wasn't. It was one of the Sky ones. He says, he's seen you, and then he started laughing and quickly got back to the studio. So, but it was good.
I read a bit about Victor today. Victor Wayama, he had his full family in the park.
Victor who?
When did they sign him?
I did see that. I said that to
All be Wayama to me.
Right, okay.
I can't remember if it was Kieran. I said that to it was it looked as if there was a big contingent of them on the pitch, and I think Effie Ambrose as well.
Was that his wife and kid? I think so.
Yeah.
So they flew in for Kenya, told this is a Scottish summer.
Aye. It was snowing on Monday morning.
And as Victor says, I can't really figure out the weather. I love the place, but I can't figure out the weather.
Join the club, pal.
We've been here for 40 odd years.
Speak for yourself. Someone's just 30 odd.
As regards the game, I agree with what Kevin says. I thought they played really, really well. Some of the passing and movement in the game was superb. I was a wee bit disappointed at St.Johnstone, to be honest, chasing a European place. But they played well.
I hope so. The other goals were from Stokes, Forrest, and OG from our friend Mr. Wright.
What was the script in the paper? I caught something about, was there a bit of a hullabaloo because he didn't applaud them out on the pitch? 3 players
that didn't applaud the Celtic players onto the pitch. How they did that.
The guard the honour.
The guard the honour. He was one of them. Apparently there was 3 of them. He was one of them.
Was he the one that stuck there?
He was the one that elbowed.
Listage was gone off.
No wonder. Have you seen it?
I've not seen it, no.
It's an absolute disgrace. And I can't even believe he's appealing it.
He is appealing it, yes.
Is he?
A total disgrace. Honestly, it's assault. He looked to see where he was.
Ran at him, man.
And then...
Lustig was livid. He was chasing him about. He was wanting to see where I am. I'm after him.
Did Lustig get booked for it?
I did.
He got booked after.
He chased into the opposition half to go and...
He didn't remonstrate with him. He didn't get any closer than...
Did you see the next kick out? Sammy was pointing
Put it there so I can
Sammy tried to do him. It's the worst ever attempt.
Sammy tried to do him with his hair flick. His L'Oreal hair. What's the song they were singing about him?
It's Head and Shoulders.
He's got a Head and Shoulders
Head and Shoulders advert.
You know, so
But that Green, the goalie down in... No, it's not Green. What's the Man City goalie? Hart. He does an advert for Head and Shoulders, but Sammy does the Greek. He's in the Greek one.
Aye.
That's it on YouTube. Oh man!
But the Green Brigade were singing a song about him.
But I'm not sure.
And they sang it for ages, and it was. I seen something on Twitter on Saturday night.
It's number 9 or something.
And it said something about who's
Shine.
Who's the girl that was on X Factor, the judge on X Factor? Cheryl Cole, and it's something about like Cheryl Cole. He uses L'Oreal or something. I think someone tweeted and his name is Big Sammy or something like that.
I think you should have checked this. No one of you don't write the songs for the Green Brigade. Cheryl Cole, like Cheryl Cole.
Somebody
uses L'Oreal.
Somebody listen to this. Like Cheryl Cole, he's L'Oreal or something like that because she does the L'Oreal.
It's getting better.
L'Oreal.
They sang it for about 30 minutes non-stop.
Vincent, that's us news to new low. We're new into the X Factor, L'Oreal.
It's Head and Shoulders advert.
You just find out what the song is. Song for Sammy and get it played. I'm telling you, mark my words, it mentions Cheryl Cole and L'Oreal in it without a shadow of a doubt.
So St Johnstone were playing for were they still playing for a sport?
Still playing for the European,
they were rubbish, weren't they?
Terrible.
Form team in the league and into the game as well.
Yeah.
Outside us.
Do you not think we were due a performance right enough? So our last 3 performances have been atrocious. I mean, obviously, Marlow we get beat, Dingwall we drew. It was about time they actually turned in a performance that gives you a wee bit of confidence looking forward to a week on Sunday at Hampden.
For what I saw as well, I mean, I think you're right about Brown keeping the tempo up, but I thought Forrest had one of his better games.
He did, played well.
And seemed to be like that way. I quite like him where he's really direct. You know, he kind of just drops the shoulder and he heads for the byline. When he does that, he just looks like
difficult to stop him, isn't it?
Took his goal well.
He did.
Brilliant play for Hooper for his goal.
To be honest, before I was at Hooper, you can just go off the pitch as quickly as you want.
Remember I did that.
But it was. I thought Hooper was strolling about again, just showing a kind of a real lack of. I don't want to say effort, but
appetite.
Just looked as if he was going through the motions.
I've felt that,
and then he picked it up and he made an excellent run and played it. And to be honest, we Forrest couldn't really miss it, although he did dispatch it well. I mean, there was keeper got nowhere near it. But you're right. Forrest is one of the players when he's playing like that is actually getting the ability to turn matches and do things that not many people in our team are able to do in terms of drop the shoulder, get by people, really quick feet, and play in a number of positions, where it be it in the right, the left, or even dropping in behind the forward, sitting more centrally. It'd be good to see him stay fit for obviously the last game of the season on Sunday, playing the cup final, and then get a few weeks break and get a good pre-season under his belt. Because if he can get a good pre-season under his belt, build up his core strength, he's got to be one of the first names on the team sheet for me.
There was always that slight concern just about his kind of fitness. He almost reminds me a bit of Maloney. In that respect, you know, he's almost too quick for his own good, and doesn't seem to be able to sustain that.
We've had a few injuries all year, if you think about it. Because Brown's hardly been fit all year. Forrest has hardly been fit all year. They have 2 year star men. Really.
You worry about Brown actually having. But Brown's going to last for the last 3 seasons.
Giving himself some long term.
You actually worry about his long term ability to actually play a full season now. Sorry, I do. The last 3 seasons he's missed as many games as he's played over the full time, and I'm a bit concerned that he's always very close to his body kind of giving up.
He's not the kind of guy that seems to lose fitness. or lose. When he comes on, he doesn't look as if he's not been playing.
I thought that was very noticeable on Saturday. Yeah,
He looked as if he'd been in the team for
weeks and
3
weeks,
months before it, didn't
So
he?
he's up. It's almost he's coming in.
a natural athletic.
So if he's going to only get use of him half a season, then he'll select the games. Obviously, he played him on Saturday with the cup final in mind, which I have to say I'm a lot more confident than what I was.
I mean,
just because of Brown.
Aye.
Obviously, so
Well, they won 2-0 tonight. Well, they're running 2-0.
3-1
3-1
finished. Aye. But I thought he may use him, as Kevin said, that he's no stayed fit for a full season, so we may use him in selective games. The big games, the Champions League games, and hope
apparently
that will
surgery
fly.
wasn't anything to do with the longer term one that we thought.
Was it
He was
not?
having problems with his hip. I don't think that's what the surgery was about.
Well, you'll be back for Scotland, that's a certainty.
That's a bit of a worry, actually.
I think Jay
Because-
Forrest, if he's fit enough, he'll be back.
Aye. I want to see these players because I mean that game was it 2nd of June or something like that. I think it is. That's only two weeks before they potentially need to come back for pre-season training with a Champions League kind of early
Which is why
qualifier looming
Neil
large.
Lennon's doing what he's doing. That's how he's justifying it, and I can understand it. But I'm just not sure. The worry for that is just how focused they are for the final. But if you've got somebody like Brown and that kind of,
Well, I think they're focused now.
listen,
I think
He's done that. He gave them all. He gave the select group a week off each other. I think Coleman's actually got a bit longer because he wasn't at the Play of the Year dance, wasn't he? Not.
No, he wasn't there.
he wasn't in the squad at all.
No, he was sick at the weekend.
Oh, was he?
Aye.
So I suspect he's done that. He's got everybody back. Obviously, they would all have to be back anyway for the presentation. I think you'll see Brown actually start on Saturday, and I think he'll give him another 60 minutes because I think he was kind of babying them in, by giving them 60 minutes on Saturday because he didn't actually look tired. But I think Lennon just thought, well, that's you. You've run out. You've got rid of the cobwebs.
What's happening? You're coming off after 60.
Yeah. And it wouldn't surprise me if it's that, or he gets a good last 30 minutes on Sunday against Dundee United. Because to be honest, you can't imagine that game's going to be blood and guts. It's a game just to kind of get a stretch of the legs, and
It's not on the TV, somebody told me. Alright?
I think
An early kick-off?
I think they all kick off at the same time. I'm not
no.
kick off time.
It's the last game, the last good game, so we'll all kick off at the same time.
I thought it was an early kick.
Does anybody know what time it's at? Is it 1:30?
Quarter past 12, I think.
Is it?
Because all the English games are on at 4 o'clock.
Declan's got a game on, so he has
So we'll just move on to that game then. That was a neat segue into that game. Dundee United.
Seamless.
Seamless
See the way I
link.
planned that. Pretty happy with that.
See how that worked without your need of intervention.
So, I mean, do you think he'll have players in there to just keep them ticking over for the final, or
I would be inclined to play my cup final team on Sunday, actually, and keep the momentum up. I know there's always the danger that you end up picking up an injury, but that can happen anyway. They seem to be picking up injuries more at training than they are during matches at the minute, and I would go with almost full strength and probably look to play everybody, or at least get everybody on the park at some stage who's going to be in the final.
The kick-off's 12:45, just for clarification purposes, in case you're wanting
thanks for
to.
clarifying that.
I'm surprised the boss did not get that wrote down.
I'm hoping nobody's relying on this podcast to
Well,
the time games are kicking
I think
up.
a host, the preparation of a host, it's been seriously lacking.
It's definitely done. It's in one hand it's went up, but in other hands it's went
Because-
down.
You mean you've got better biscuits?
Biscuits are better. Details.
Sorry, well, we've got biscuits. You mean?
Biscuits are better, the podcast is shite.
I agree with you, Stephen. I think we should play nearest damn his cup final team. I agree with you. But
I don't think he'll do
Wayama will be playing because that's a certainty.
Yes,
Why am I?
Had to get that back.
Why am I spoiled? Wanyama's no.
To be honest, that might be a reason why he might choose not to play Brown, actually, because just in case the off chance he does to contradict
up
what
an
I've said.
injury.
Aye. But to be honest, I think for that, giving them an hour in a game that's probably not going to be that competitive. But you know what Bruni's like, man, he's that daft that he would go hurtling into a challenge and
I
end
don't
up.
think he does friendlies, does he, really?
No, I think he'll definitely get another. I'm just not convinced he'll play his cup final team. I think he'll probably be a bit more cagey and give guys a run out that need a run out. I'd be just surprised if he put out that too. I can see your logic, but
Dundee United haven't they get in to play for now, have they?
no.
Although John Daly could endear himself to the South Koreans by buttering a few.
Is he actually?
Somebody said he signed, but
no, I seen I was in Asda tonight.
Scott Sport.
I flicked over one of the papers and it says it's a done deal.
Right. Seemingly it's a
done deal.
I can't fathom that. Other
You'll just
than-
no to him.
I can't. It's his last payday. He's 30-year-old.
Sorry, I can understand it from his perspective.
Aye.
How confident are you getting that money?
Do you know what I have
Are they
to say?
paying money for him?
No, I mean, how confident
I'm getting his salary. You're on 10 grand a week, so that'll be 10 grand. You'll get 1 week's wages and then he'll get in the pan.
That's what I mean.
I think he's a decent player, actually, John Daly.
I think he's already a decent player as well.
Well, we did speak probably last season or the season before in the podcast about maybe he would be worth a punt to bring in and give Celtic something else on a domestic front, something about a bit of an aerial presence up front, and
Something that we don't have at all in the squad.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's something that this new Rangers football club have done that the original Rangers that died didn't do. They've signed a Republic of Ireland
born and bred.
Catholic.
He's not played for them yet, right enough. Let's see.
But he's got a passport, a Republic of Ireland passport.
They've
never had.
No, I mean he's not played for the.
Oh, right.
The new club.
I mean, that's definitely what Lennon came out and said the kind of player he was looking for, but the type of player he was looking for. But I think he would be trying to be looking for a step up from class.
Like Daryl Murphy.
Daryl Murphy type
He has tried a John Daly mould and we just mentioned it, Darren Murphy.
The good thing about Daly is he can play up front and at the back. I think that gives you something, definitely something
He's
that
slow, but he's finished.
good back cover.
So as long as he
I
doesn't
would
sign
sign him
Higdon.
just so that Huns don't sign him.
Would you?
No, I wouldn't actually.
I think it's quite a progressive move by that new team. I think they should be congratulated.
Yep. It's a good thing you do before you die. Okay, so we're looking forward to Sunday, but we've got our eyes on the Scottish Cup final. See that another seamless move through the agenda there. Straight ahead, did it?
Straight in.
See, when you make it seamless, you don't tell them, you don't call it out to them. Did you notice that seamless?
Seamless.
That's how seamless that was.
So I better put a link in so we know there's actually been a link. Was that seamless? They might not even notice we've moved on. Yeah.
Aye, you can't abuse that.
Aye, you can't.
You can.
Especially when there's only 3 baskets left. So, cup final. Who's going to the cup final? I know we've got some.
Did you ask that last time? Is that you
I'm going.
You're not abstaining.
No, I'm definitely going.
You're
going.
I need to
Yes.
go with my sister. So I'm going. Stephen.
Yes, I'm
Stephen's
going. Yep.
Yes, I'm definitely going.
Macaulay twins are abstain.
Oh, Kevin Sutherland.
No, I think I'm going in the bus to walk my son to the game.
To the turnstile, and then you take him to the pie stall as well. So I may as well get a ticket. If I'm going to take it to the pie stall,
Make sure he gets these seats.
I'll need to sit with him during the game.
No, that's a bit unfair. I'm going to go to the Beechwood for bites, and then pick him up back after the game.
Listen, we want photographic evidence of this. You going to get Beechwood?
So I think Kieran's going to take Declan and Michael and Aidan. So that's the plan.
But that's an awful lot of kids for Kieran to be watching on his own.
So they might need a wee horn.
I'm not going. I'm definitely not going.
So I definitely don't want to go because I hate the place. But I do have the ticket in the house, and the other reason why I don't want to go now is because I've broadcast it on here. But I wasn't going to go, and now
You don't want to do it.
I suppose that's true.
We'll get one more download this week because there's 5 years here.
He doesn't bother.
I know. I'll be up to 4
last week.
Do you know what? I download it from my iPhone, my iPad, and my laptop. I get Luke to download it for his iPad.
Bit repetitive.
Aye.
So I'm planning not to go. Not to go to the game. Not going to the
We
stadium.
briefly discussed it, but what's your prediction? Do you think we're going
I've always said I think Celtic will win.
to do them?
Yes. I've always said that.
See, I get nervous when Peter says that because he said the same last season, the podcast before the Kilmarnock game. He said,
the treble's in the bag.
In the bag, aye, there's no danger, so I'm just going to...
Don't worry about it.
I'm just...
It's a done deal.
We need to do something that we've not done very often in the last, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years, and turn up at Hampden on the day and start well. Probably the last time we did do that was the Scottish Cup final when we beat Motherwell and we beat them comfortably 2 years ago. Was that 2 years ago? It was. So if they turn up with the right attitude, and to be honest, if the fans turn up with the right attitude, because I think there's too many times when we go to Hampden the support is particularly quiet.
Well, you and Brian will be there.
You'll be there, so maybe
that's
a better attitude than you,
Well, maybe you'll sing. You'll sing as loud as me.
I think the fans are bought for this one. I really do.
They need to be, Peter, because Hampden is a horrible stadium when
not conducive to a good atmosphere.
So it needs an extra, a kind of extra effort on people's behalf.
But I have to say, it also comes from the team as well. The team need to look up for it, and the fans respond. And then it becomes reciprocal. When the fans respond, the team are more up for it, and it's self-perpetuating. And I think so. It's a responsibility of both. But I'm from not being overly not too confident before. I'm a bit more confident now about his winning. As Kevin says, it's not something that we've done loads and loads of times in terms of winning the double. But then again, you look at Hibs' record, which also worries me. But it's a long time.
You said that last year and you got 5-1. Lee Griffiths, you've got to talk about him.
Aye, he's our only danger, really.
Yes.
We need to be careful with free kicks and careful because they're quick in the break. The goal that Lee Griffiths scored at Easter Road, it was a great individual effort. There was defensive mistakes, but
who against us at New Year?
Aye, the one that took a acute angle.
Did they play tonight? Did they play?
No, he wasn't.
They dropped 6 players, didn't
they? Dropped 6. They still won 3-1.
Scored some goal the other day against Hearts.
I was going to say, I never seen
both the goals were brilliant.
And
free kick.
He scored a cracking goal that didn't get given against Hearts in the game.
Previous game.
Easter Road, again for a free kick, almost the same distance. So he's kind of got that range and he's got that ability to do that.
Aye, and I think we've got a good goalie for free kicks. I don't think it's one of his weak areas. I think it's one of Fraser Forster's strong areas is shots from distance. But I'm reasonably confident without being overconfident.
I think it's all to do with us. It's all to do with our attitude. If we turn up,
but I still even think if we don't turn up, there's still a chance we can win it, because I don't think outside Lee Griffiths, I don't think Hibs have got a great deal.
Well, they've been struggling all season, haven't they? Absolutely struggling. They had a great start. This season, Hibs. Then they just fell away.
I think possibly the only danger I see for us is, like Kevin said, we don't have a good start, and the fans kind of go a bit quiet and get a bit edgy, and it does. We've seen it in the St Mirren game. We've seen it in the games in Hampden last year. It's very easy for us to do, and then it starts getting in the players' minds about playing at Hampden. Is it always like this at Hampden for us? So that's my only small concern. But I think we're obviously a far stronger team than Hibs. Therefore, if we play half decent, we'll beat them.
And we've got a captain back.
I think he can make a difference.
I think that'll make a big difference, because one of the complaints we've had at Hampden has been the lack of urgency, the lack of motivation, what has been perceived as the lack of effort. I don't believe that myself, but it can sometimes look that way. But I think Scott Brown does give the team a bit of urgency and motivation.
I think it's important that the manager picks the right team on the day as well.
Yep.
And not have anyone in the team who could be construed as a passenger or just been kind of putting a square peg in a round hole. So, for example, Charlie Mulgrew. If you're going to play Charlie, you play him in what is his best position, and if that's going to be, for example, centre back, then one of the centre backs needs to drop out the team. I don't see any point in moving Effie Ambrose to right back and then doing something there, and you get your best right back, your best left back, your best centre half pairing, which I believe is Ambrose and Wilson, and I know others will disagree with that. And if it means that Charlie needs to step out rather than playing him at left back instead, I'd rather visit at left back.
Charlie's a certainty to play, and you're right.
That's what kind of worries me.
That's what he'll do.
Because I want Ledley to play in the centre of the park. I want Bruni in the team. I want Forrest in the team. But I want them to play people in the positions that they are best suited. Not just say, okay, I'm going to have Charlie somewhere in the team. And Martin was guilty of this when he used to play Sutton anywhere in the pitch. And we lost a Scottish Cup final against Rangers because of it. We got beaten 3-2. He played him at centre half, and he was directly responsible for losing 2 goals, and Ferguson scored in the last 5 minutes to clinch it for them. So that really frustrates me, and I don't want Charlie to be in the team just for set pieces, playing in midfield.
I think it's a certainty to win the team, and I don't think he'll be playing at centre half.
And I think he'll be playing left back.
I don't think he'll be playing there either. I think he'll squeeze him into midfield somehow.
See, that worries me.
I think that's what he'll do.
That worries me more than...
I don't think there's any doubt he'll be in midfield. I was having a think about the team earlier. I think he'll play... This wouldn't be my team, but I think he'll play Ambrose and Wilson in the middle, Izaguirre and Lustig, obviously the goalkeeper. And then I think he'll play Mulgrew either centre mid with Brown or left mid, and Ledley will play either or. That's what I think he'll do, because we're missing Wanyama and Kyle, unfortunately, and I think it would be the wrong thing. And I think you're totally right, Kevin. We've gone to Hampden a few times recently, and I think if he's fit, I've been quite bemused by the way that he's kind of not been using Samaras of late. He's been kind of bringing him off the bench. I think there's been a few times that we've gone to Hampden, and for me, Hampden is made for Samaras. Absolutely made for him, and I think Samaras absolutely must start. I think this cup final has got Samaras's name all over it, to be honest with you. But the worry is that the wrong team selection, and we don't start well, we have a sluggish start, all of the rest of it.
Well, if he starts Samaras, he'll not be starting Forrest, because he'll play Commons. That's the certainty.
Yeah, I think Forrest will start on the bench.
Aye, he'll play Commons.
Aye, and he'll...
I think he
might play 13 then.
I think he might play 4-3-3. You know what I mean? He might do. There's all conceivable play.
Samaras Super then, you thinking?
Samaras Super, Mulgrew, Ledley, Brown and Commons.
So 4-3-3 wouldn't bother me. I think that goes out with a real sign of intent that you're there to take the game to them and kill the game. But when you actually look at what the 4-3-3 would be, the 3 up front would be Hooper, Samaras and probably Commons, and that they're 2 players that are able to drop off anyway and make the midfield make a 4-5-1.
I think his dilemma will be Forrest v Samaras, and I'm not sure who he'll go with. And I think his signal is that he's looking more like Forrest than Samaras, given what he's been doing the last few games. But I agree with you. But who would make the bigger impact if needed?
You could argue also that Hampden's made for Forrest, albeit he's not. From my recollection, I can't remember him having a good performance there.
I thought he'd no bad semi night enough. I thought he played okay in the semi when he came in for nowhere.
I wasn't there, but he did. I watched it. That was part of my boycott. But he did play well that game.
The thing about that is, then, if it's only Hooper, I would be more concerned about just Hooper, just Forrest, if you like, as opposed to the Samaras.
Concerning that team is Izaguirre. You played 4-3-3 with Izaguirre.
I wasn't at the semi-finals.
He's laughing at it. I think it's your last quote.
So I didn't see.
I didn't
Boris
want to
quite
put your
good
point
semi.
Yeah, that's good. He's got no bad semi.
Did you see that photo on Twitter? Danny McGreen and the boys sitting.
They're saying it's Paul Byrne. I don't know.
It's just how
it's Paul Byrne.
it is hilarious.
Because I was listening to
People have
Harper was
photoshopped
talking about
it, and there's actually a picture. One of them's the Rangers bench when they're away. Some away game, and you see McCoy standing, that way, he claps his hands, stupid face, stupid look in his face, and that boy sitting in the bench behind him. Oh, you need to, I'll tweet it.
I don't know if you listened to
It's absolutely brilliant.
Harper was doing that. What would you call that? That charity thing where you play at Parkhead.
Aye, Football Aid.
Football Aid.
I thought that's what it was.
That's where it's from.
That's where it's from, aye. So he was
That's
talking about
hilarious.
the experience of it. Actually, it sounded absolutely brilliant.
Do you know who the boy in the photo is? Jim Ward's nephew.
It's shaking hands with Danny McGreen, is it?
Wait, semi. Am I catching this right? Am I catching this right?
This was the final.
So he's on the pitch shaking hands with Danny McGreen. He thinks a semi.
It's in the dressing room.
It's in the dressing room. My goodness, right?
That is hilarious.
Spiral out of control.
Do you know, I nearly ruined my
It's
iPad.
hilarious, and Stephen thinks it's a no bad semi. So there you are. That ends the first one. Thanks for that, guys.
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, 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 tock.
Remember, you can get in touch via Twitter, Facebook, our website, and our email address, which is mail@carlickshamrock.com. So a couple of wee announcements and shout-outs. Hail to Ian Monk of the Scottish Civil Service Celtic Supporters Club. Tic Talk have been invited along again to a Q&A night hosted by Chris McLaughlin. And the panel will consist of Graham Spears, Tom English and Alison Robbie.
Did you not tell us about that just
You
a
got a wee
minute
bit
ago?
of deja vu there, eh?
Aye. Did you not tell us?
Well, if I'd pressed record, you would have...
Oh, right.
Could have done it first time.
So,
Groundhog Day.
I'll not remember and press record. So we'll hope to have some audio of that up, and we'll put it up as a special kind of podcast. Kevin, you're more than welcome to join me. I'm going to need a wee hand on the night.
When is it?
I can't remember the exact date, but I'll send it off to you in a week or two. I think it's a Tuesday night, was it, Brian?
Aye, as a Tuesday.
So I'll send that to you, so look out for
What?
that. Special wee
What do you mean you
podcast.
can't go? Does that mean you were invited before me?
Yeah, that's exactly what it means.
Right, that's me. I'm not available.
He's the intrepid reporter. You get invited before me. Well,
It's not this Tuesday coming, is it?
it's no this Tuesday.
It's the 28th, Tuesday the 28th
28th
of May.
So it'd be quite good if we could. It's in McVities in Glasgow.
Oh, aye.
So I'll give you a wee shout and we'll see if we can.
Alison
organise
Robbie's
that.
alright, by the way.
That's good. So we'll be doing interviews there. We'll do a double hander,
Cheers.
and then we'll do an interview.
Chris McLaughlin looks like you.
Chris McGo. Aye, so it is.
Remember your wife
That's
was
Samson.
Okay, the second hail is to a cousin of Richard called Barry McEwen.
That's a stock.
Who this is? It was a bit of a starstruck.
How did you know about that?
At the first communion.
I heard about this just no that long ago.
But obviously.
Was that when you
press
didn't
record.
press record?
Yeah,
Aye,
okay. So he was a bit of a starstruck stalker.
That's easy for you to say.
Time round.
Following me about at the first communion, saying that he loved Tic Talk and that I was great in it and stuff like that. So it got a wee bit embarrassing, to
Was
be
he
honest.
pissed?
This was before he was drinking. So
only 7.
it made me kind of
That explains it.
it made me kind of think about a new feature which I'm lovingly going to call Vinny will fix it, and I don't know if that's the best
I
name.
think that
so-
wasn't one of the first
Aye,
time.
okay.
I thought you'd actually maybe removed that.
I thought you'd drop
Second time
it
round.
when you had the opportunity.
So basically, we want to invite listeners to get in touch with the show to see if they would like to be a special guest pundit. And what we'll do is we'll see if we can line that up in one of our future shows, and we can have a revolving chair, if you like, for listeners to come along and be part of
Just
the
get one
panel.
of Graham Norton's chair.
We could do that, actually.
No,
We
when
could.
we tips
you back.
No, I watch Graham Norton that often. I've just been
I've been
passing and it's been on TV.
I've been an ejector chair for you if you've got any
An
more
ejector.
stupid ideas
Well, I
like that.
don't think that's a bad one.
Vinny will
Vinny
fix
does
it.
Tic Talk.
Vinny does Tic Talk, that's a better one.
I don't know
Vinny-
if it's
Vinny
the
will
right
fix it.
celebrity to be selecting anyway to model yourself after, Vincent.
I know, I knew
Just
it'd
a
be
wee
a bit.
suggestion.
I knew it'd be a bit controversial. And a final kind of shout out is a further hail to Tommy Ferry, former of this parish, now
Hey, Tommy.
living in Maine, USA. He's a big Tic Talk fan, and Tommy reckons, now this is a bit controversial, that he was the first ever Shambolic member on the first ever bus to Dundee as he got on the bus in Lanark with Joe Clark. Any memories of that one,
No.
Pierre?
I have to admit, no.
Yeah.
So was Joe Clark now in it before him?
Joe, well, it sounds as if he's claiming that he was on the bus before Joe, therefore he was the first member on the first bus. So, actually, I'm in the Royal Borough of Lanark. I'm going to check that out with Joe Clark. But a hail to Tommy anyway.
Hi,
Nice
Tommy.
to hear from
Hope
Tommy.
you're well.
Armar sniper.
Fine chef. Fine
He
chef.
was a fine chef.
Fine
He was a
chef.
fine
None
chef.
of your rubbish.
Uh-huh.
Very fine chef.
Excellent. So, hail Tommy.
I think he's working in McDonald's over there.
Is he?
Aye.
Okay, I'm sure he'll be happy
Fine
for you to
chef.
say that. CSA Player of the Year on Friday night. Kevin, there's a posse lined up for that. How many have we got
Aye,
going to that?
it's 10 is going to that.
10?
In the Kerrydale suite, Chris Commons, Player of the Year. So I should be a good night. John Hartson's our guest of honour this year, and the charitable fund that it's being raised towards is the John Hartson Cancer Foundation.
Is it?
So it should be a really good night. Looking forward to it. I'd be looking forward to it more if I was drinking, but I decided after Saturday night that I'm off it this weekend. So,
What was you to do end up?
1 o'clock.
Oh, dear.
Come in, got a text from Carol. Didn't get up for Declan's football. Got a text from Carol just saying, I don't like me waking up at 1 o'clock with your singing. And I think I'd been singing all the way up the street. So my neighbours would have been well impressed with that. So that was at 4 o'clock.
Well, at least it was the singing you tried to wake Carol up with and no anything else.
Sell yourself.
Who did you sit with?
Oh, so I come out the curtain and I actually turned down right to go to get a taxi, and I took 5 steps and my body forced me to turn and go back up to the taxi. Ended up sitting with Mackay. Was there for about an hour, and then it was all the mad Mackays.
Madder than Johnny?
Aye, sisters.
Really mad one.
And then back down to the curtain to meet Joanne and Max. So I went up to 30 something and everything.
So you really kicked the backside. I
did
thought you were
so.
just being
No, I
a
was-
gentleman taking us
No,
on.
I was being a gentleman, but I've been an enforced gentleman. So,
I had a few coffees when I'd left them.
aye, that was about quarter to 8, 10 to 8. So it was good night. Good night, and managed to wake the neighbours up with some songs of rebellion, I guess.
So that's been doing well.
Aye.
So we've got 2 cars taking the posse into
Yes.
Kerrydale Suite.
Yes, and
What's the format of that night actually? Is it
it's just
a meal?
it's a meal, and the award for Player of the Year. There's a band on. I
So
think
there's
it's
dancing?
Foggy Dew. Well, I don't.
Is that a men's night?
Dance to Foggy Jew.
Although, to be honest, if it's a party's nights up here, people have been dancing to Sean South and stuff, doing waltzes to Sean South. So, so it should be a good night, and there's normally a couple of speakers as well. So, and
The Canute boss usually won the first prize.
so we'd obviously sold the raffle tickets in the bus. So the first prize is a trip to the Vegas convention, the Celtic convention in Vegas in June.
Is that the one you were selling the tickets to?
Aye.
And the second prize a weekend for 2 in Dublin, and the third prize is probably the best one. It's up to Lennoxtown. Meet Neil Lennon. We'll meet you in Arrival, have breakfast, sit and have breakfast with him. Go out, watch the training, come back in. It'll be, if it's a press day, you'll be at the press conference, and then when all the press disappear, you'll have lunch in the restaurant and sitting with the players and mingling with them and stuff like
Sounds
that. So
good,
that's
but
quite
Vegas
interesting.
does
No, Vegas is good. So, that's the one I'm holding it for, I've got to say. So, good night.
Okay, Brian, you've got an announcement to make as well.
Oh, aye. You've caught me unawares.
Well, you'd be better prepared, son.
It was Heart of a Lion book that's just been launched by Willie Wallace, the Lisbon Lion. And Kevin and I were at a question and answer thing over at the Columba Club in Blantyre on Friday night with, and on the panel was Phil McGillivan, Paul McConville and Paul Brennan of Celtic Quick News, and Paul Brennan spoke for 5 minutes on this book, and he spoke, honestly, see when he'd finished, the hairs in the back of your neck were standing. He spoke so passionately, eloquently and lovingly about Willie Wallace as a player, but he mentioned one thing that really struck home with me. He's the only Lisbon Lion that could walk down, he said Sucky Hall Street, Argyle Street, could walk down Carrock High Street and nobody would recognise him, because he's been over in Australia for so many years. So the book is launched, you can buy it online, it's called Heart of a Lion. Some of Brogan, Rogan, Trevino and Hogan has contributed significantly to it.
Who's wrote it?
Willie Wallace himself has written a lot of it, but what they've done is they've added, so throughout his career they've had various people add to the chapter, so either a preface to the chapter or a fan giving their experience of the time, and then it goes into Willie Wallace telling his story. But the foreword was written by Rod Stewart and Brogan Rogan, who's a
Foreword?
Aye.
Oh, the foreword, sorry.
Yeah.
You wrote foreword.
Aye, very good. And the Brogan Rogan, who has done a lot of online stuff, and anyone that's read his stuff, it's really entertaining reading, and so he's contributed significantly. So that's as I say, it's launched. You can buy it online. Amazon, Celtic Quick News have it on their site. If you buy it, and within the next week, I think you get a signed copy.
He's coming over for the.
And he's over
for the cup final.
There probably will be a book launch, which we'll know a bit more
book
about.
Signing, I think, rather than a book launch, was it not?
Aye.
Talking about doing a couple of book signings.
Yeah, and also I think Brogan Rogan's been in touch with some of the Hail Media guys, so watch this space. There'll be more extensive interviews, maybe with Willie Wallace and Brogan Rogan. We'll see what happens, but there'll be more to come out on that.
It was quite funny that when Willie Wallace decided to do it, and he just thought, I've got a story, and what Paul said, he's been like the link person or the go-to person in Australia for Celtic supporters clubs and any conventions and anything they're kind of running. He's always the guy that is the kind of link with that era in Celtic, the same way as we've got Billy McNeil and St.Johnstone and all the rest of the Lisbon Lions. And so he kind of just started penning some of these kind of memoirs in his later years, and he contacted Paul and just said, Paul, do you think we could, there's a book in this? Paul kind of read some of it and just thought it was amazing. So I think obviously Rod Stewart being a category 1 celebrity, Paul thought I'll try and touch base with him, and within 24 hours of being asked to do it, he'd contributed some like 3,000 words for the foreword.
Who's this? Archie McPherson?
No, Rod Stewart.
But sorry, I should have also said Archie McPherson's contributed to it as well.
I saw that, I read that bit as well.
So it just shows you that.
How did he manage to get in touch with Rod Stewart?
Apparently just phoned his agent or whatever in Los Angeles or whatever.
Called back immediately.
And said, we'd look for a couple of thousand words if he can get it to us in the next 2 weeks or something like that. I know that's pushing it because of his schedule, and then like 24 or 48 hours later it was like, there you go, email through the forward. And there's just, I mean, you don't get many celebrities kind of bigger than Rod Stewart. So I
I kind of made a mistake there in terms of where to buy it. On Celtic Quick News, which is celticquicknews.co.uk, there's a button there if you want to buy it. It's just if you buy it through there, then Willie Wallace gets some more money rather than buying it anywhere else.
Could we book for lying near the pool this summer?
Yep. There's also a Kindle version, but Peter, Willie Wallace can't sign the Kindle version.
See.
Sorry.
That's okay for me.
Sorry.
I'll eat Kindles.
Kindle surprises.
Okay, thanks for that, Brian.
Another quick thing just while we're here. I don't know if you want to meet the Luke Posse, if you ever want to meet us. but we are hopefully going to be in the hall here, St Athanasius Hall, after the cup final. So if anybody's kicking about, wants to come up and see us, come up and see us.
It's a holiday weekend. Sorry, I was going to say that when you were talking about the Scottish Cup final. So man, and it's actually a game to really look forward to because of that, and because it is, you win the trophy, you win the double and stuff.
So if we win, we'll all be in high spirits. It'll be a good night. So
I'll have a whole.
Bring the kids up.
And actually,
You and I could just watch
we could
it.
offer some of the panellists to autographs, stuff like that.
Whatever.
Barry McCune might.
He
might be keen to come up and see us. He's great.
I thought it was you. Vincent.
He likes all
You're
the
great.
panellists.
You
Thanks very
are,
much.
Vincent, you are the best.
No, you're just
And
saying
if what's his name, Derbognik from
I thought that's where he was from, Dubrovnik. Is he not?
No, that's his name.
Is that his name? Sorry, Dubrovnik.
If you want to come over, get a cheap flight, over you come. Kevin will put you up, he's got plenty of room because
He's got a ticket for you, know.
Carol's moved him into the garage.
He's got a
Okay. Just another couple of wee things. Actually, I just want to spend a couple of minutes on Davy Moyes, guys. What was your thoughts on Davy Moyes getting the Man United job, Stephen?
Wee bit surprised, I must admit. I thought that was Jose's job. He's obviously been groomed for the job for a while. I'm throwing in some crackers tonight.
Having a good night.
He's good. He's talking 10 minutes ago. He was talking about James Forrest Semi, and now he's talking about grooming.
He's an eat.
For goodness sake.
So, other than that, you were surprised, were you?
Wee bit surprised, aye. But really surprised at the length of contract he's been given as well. That was quite
6
interesting.
years.
Obviously, sending a message out that they're not looking for instant success from him.
But not necessarily. I mean, he's certainly got he obviously got a different job for what Ferguson had, but I mean, the pressure on there is he's really under pressure to win his first trophy, isn't he?
It's the same job.
Well, it's interesting. He's already ready to walk into a brouhaha where we Rooney looking to leave.
A brouhaha.
I think brouhaha.
I think they're one with Rooney. I think
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me either. Ferguson leaving him out.
she'll leak all this.
But see with that. I'm the opposite. I don't think it's a surprising appointment at all. I think it's a intelligent, clever appointment by Man United, and they're putting faith in a guy and they're trying to replicate what they've done with Ferguson, but with someone with a wee bit more experience than what Ferguson had when he got there. In certain respects, and a bit less experience in other respects in terms of European football. But they're looking for stability. Mourinho would go and he's there for 2 or 3 years until he gets bored. Moyes goes and he'll be there for 20 years, the same as Ferguson.
If he's
potentially. But
how can he not be successful? Well, in my opinion, it's not just Ferguson that makes him successful.
It's the whole structure,
it's the whole operation. Everything about it makes him successful.
Yeah,
and that to that point, the stability they've got. So Chelsea need to rebuild now, and they need to rebuild because they're going to lose a lot of players that were that clique that have actually caused them so many problems managerially for the last. Man City are going to have to do the same.
2 European trophies in 2 years.
I was actually
some problem.
I was actually talking to a guy at work about this. I said, "It's never a better time for a team like Liverpool or something." You know what I mean? Because Man City, as you just said, Chelsea as well, Man United.
Liverpool
the 3 top teams.
Liverpool are travelling in the wrong direction.
Well,
They are travelling in the wrong direction.
It's never a better time for them.
I don't know. I think
Arsenal, I think they're a good time for Arsenal, to be honest with Wenger.
It's on the pot. Anyway, we don't want to talk too much more about the Premier League.
Can I just say that I think
I wish him all the best.
It was they replayed when Ferguson retired last week. I thought it was pretty bizarre the amount of coverage it got. I mean, it was. But one nice thing that they did do, they did a Davy Moyes interview that they recorded back on 5 Live, recorded it, or Match of the Day recorded it back in February or January of this year. And he was just speaking about Britain, obviously no wind of this happening, and it was a fantastic listen. He was talking about even when he was a young player.
Very articulate.
And I was speaking to him. There was a wee boy who plays in Declan's football team. His dad's a big Man U fan, and a good season ticket holder, goes down for most of the games or European away games and stuff. And he was really quite happy. And I was speaking to him about it, and he was saying about Moyes had the same kind of outlook as Fergie, but he wasn't a great player. Fergie wasn't a great player. Bill Shankly wasn't a great player. Jock Stein wasn't a great player. But one of the things that Davy Moyes said was that when he wasn't the most gifted player, but every single summer he went to Largs, and he used to spend at least 2 weeks at Largs doing his training badges. And at different points it coincided with like Mourinho doing his, and lots of top English coaches, a lot of the top European coaches. And what he said was interesting was he just had a thirst for football, just wanted to kind of eat it and sleep it, and wanted to go to these places and learn. And he says the reason I did it during the summer, during the close season, was to improve me as a player. When I was 26, 27, I knew I wasn't the best player, but if I learned, I could make myself a wee bit better. And that's obviously where he got lots of good habits, and Larg seems to have been really called out as a place over the last 20 years. It's over a lot of coaches. So while other 25, 26, 27-year-old players would take a month off, go swelling in Ibiza, but young men doing Ibiza, and we've got lots of money, he was going to coaching to make himself a better player, which has obviously resulted in him,
helped him be a better manager,
be a better coach. And I thought that's fantastic.
Craig Bound said that under his own steam and on his own expense, he went to, must have been France 98, was that? And went and just asked, can I come and watch, more or less? So he just went and watched the preparation, watched the training for Scotland, but under his own steam. So similar to what you're just saying there, he's spending his money and his time to improve himself. That's the bit that I think makes him more of a fit for somebody like Man United.
Well, more than worry about David Moyes is I'm delighted he's got a job, I have to admit, but my only worry is he's not won a trophy. I can't believe he's been there for 11 years at Everton and he's never won a trophy. I'm
not surprised he's not won a trophy at Everton. I'm maybe just surprised that he's never won a trophy for that point of view. I mean, did they not get back-to-back promotions or something like that?
I got Preston promoted,
do you know, I'm no fan of Man United at all, but I wish him all the best. I hope he's successful.
What I like about him as well, he always talks very, very fondly about Celtic. And he's and until he got this, there was different occasions when he'd say, I would love to be Celtic manager one day. The two things he's always said consistently: I'd love to be Celtic manager one day, and I'd love to be Scotland manager one day. And that I love that. A guy that was with Celtic, and for a long period had probably been the periphery, a reserve player. I mean, he'd been there for his.
Although I do remember he must have been, and it wasn't.
But he only, I think he probably made less than 100 appearances, I'm sure.
Possibly.
And that just shows you the way the club kind of gets into your heart, I think. So I like that as well. So, and good luck to him.
Good luck to him. And the final one was just a wee bit of a rumour. That's two podcasts I've seen now, or I've heard, both talking about Mialby. Has this rumour reached your ears? Mialby leaving?
Yes. There was a couple of folk. I was at the Celtic Player of the Year Awards a couple of weeks back, and there was a couple of people speaking to him, and one of my old school pals is a teacher at the school where Mialby's daughter goes. And apparently she's been telling her friends that she personally, not that they as a family, but she personally will not be there next year, and she'll be in Sweden. So I don't know, people are obviously putting two and two together.
Because there was another one that came up, was Harper was talking about it when he was doing the football aid. He said that was just the talk of the whole place. So whether it's related to the speculation surrounding Lennon, or whether it's specifically Mialby, don't know. But disappointed to see him go if it's just him talking about moving on or for family reasons.
It's difficult to know what these backroom guys add and who's got more influence than others. So
I think one thing I would say about Mialby is when he came to Celtic to be part of the coaching setup.
As a manager in his own right.
Well, he had the opportunity he had the offer on the table to go and be the manager of, I think it was AIK at the time, who were his boyhood heroes, which he knocked back. So it just shows the pull of Celtic for him.
Aye.
And it might be that there's maybe
An
that's back
opportunity.
on the cards.
Did you see Neil Lennon's interview or his wee speech on Sunday? Have you seen it back? Have you watched it back on the TV?
At the time, when you go.
I thought at one point he started choking up, almost as if he was getting emotional, and then kind of finished by
Tried to get back in.
seeing. Well, I'll see you at the cup final. So he
He repeated himself.
aye.
I didn't think he was quite as eloquent
Yeah.
as he normally is, I must admit.
I got the impression he was trying to avoid saying anything about next season.
Aye.
That's what I got. He didn't mention anything about next season, or do you know, every other time he spoke, he's talked about the future.
I think when he said,
Since then, he has talked about the future. It's been all over the paper. We've talked about the future.
I don't do MSM.
You
You can stick your daily record.
I'm actually quite confident. We've been talking about who's going to leave. I'm actually quite confident we're going to keep people now, more than I was 2 weeks ago.
Interestingly, we had just a wee chat about this just around Neil Lennon. I'd love him to stay, and I'd love him to be here for a number of years.
10 in a row.
But do you know what? I'm less nervous now about the whole structure of the club in terms of the background of the club, the financial footing of the club. I would, and somebody like John Park, who seems to have that part of the club kind of, nailed in it, and it's really, discovering players, developing players. So, whilst I would really hate Lennon to leave, wouldn't I would be less devastated than I would have been in the past. I think, the way I felt when Martin O'Neill left, for example, I wouldn't feel that. And actually, I really do like Neil Lennon. I think he's a good manager, and I think he's got stuff still to do here. I wouldn't be absolutely devastated if he left. And I think we could bring in a manager that could keep that momentum and keep that going. Do you know what I mean?
Who would you bring in then?
I think there's a number of managers out there. I tell you, I wouldn't say no to somebody like
Davy Moyes.
Davy Moyes, somebody like Owen Coyle. I wouldn't be devastated with that. I think he's a good manager along the same ilk as somebody like Moyes.
This was the guy that didn't even want to come and be interviewed for the job the last time. He can go and
Do
raffle
you know
himself.
that for sure?
No.
You don't know for sure. You don't know for sure. I'm not touting anybody else. I'm just saying that I would be less devastated than I would have been in the past. Although I hope he stays. And if that's the way he was talking about and avoiding speaking about it, if Neil Lennon goes and thinks that somewhere, for example, Everton is a good progress, is a good team for him to go to next time.
if he gets offered Everton, he'll go.
If he's offered Everton, but he's not going to offer Everton.
Brian's point on Friday night when we were speaking about it, going over to the Q&A, was he will not get an opportunity in his career to get a club, to get a managerial appointment, in my opinion.
No, in his career.
Higher up.
Moving from Celtic, he won't get an
Everton
offer.
are top 6.
5 or top 6 club.
Everton are top 6 and look 5 above them, and the one below them is Liverpool. So he would go. Everton would be a stepping stone to getting something. I agree with that, but he'll not get better going from Celtic to a team that are in higher up in the English Premier League than Everton are, in my opinion. Chelsea, Spurs, Arsenal, Manchester United, Man City are the 5 above them. Liverpool are the 1 below them. That's my opinion. I think if he gets offered it, he will absolutely go. And it was one of the questions I asked him when Friday night, and the guys and Paul's view was we'd all be disappointed to lose him. You couldn't hold it against them. I certainly wouldn't hold it against them. But it would be better if it happened next year, because it would give us a better chance to have someone who was going to be a replacement, and we were doing it from a progressive nature rather than, okay, he's away, what do we do now? Because we haven't planned for losing him this year. You could potentially plan for losing him.
But I disagree. I think at a high level at Celtic Park, they should always be planning for something like that. And I think
I would agree.
Have.
There's got to be always that contingency.
A 5-packet list where they would know.
I hope it's better than yours. There's several managers and his name's one. Who else?
I don't think Neil. I think this is an immaterial conversation. I don't think Neil Lennon's going to do it.
Sorry, what's this?
I really don't.
Interesting point that Kevin made, though. I've been thinking about this, and I would say that had Lennon had the season that he's had this year, next year, I would be more concerned, you know, if he'd had another... I don't know what else there is really for him to
achieve
at Celtic
other
Park,
than
apart from potentially, you know, winning
10 in a row.
But I mean, is that going to keep his juices going?
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. So that is something that's achievable. It is something that you could aim for, but I don't think it's in terms of timescales, it's soon enough. You know, to keep him here. I don't think he'll be here for that long.
For another 8 years.
You've also got to think about Neil Lennon, you know, the person as well. I mean, Davy Moyes, I'm not saying he would get this, but Davy Moyes was getting £4 million a year at Everton. Lennon's probably getting 400 or 500k.
He's getting a million.
Do you think so? You think he'd be getting £1 million?
I heard it wasn't on this. He was in the same as McCoy.
I thought he was on
700k.
750,000. I mean, so
I thought he was on 750.
But he's.
But even at that, he might not get 4 million, but he might get 2 million. He might get $1.5 million. See if somebody comes to you and says, "I'm going to double your salary." See if somebody came to me right now and says, "Double your salary."
I don't even think it is a money question, though. I think he's got enough money. I think it's him as a football man and having the ambition to
I think he'll be conscious of his stock, and actually for a manager, because there's so little jobs about, I think you have to go at the time when it's right, and actually his stock's never been higher after this season. I think you're right. I think if everyone came in, he would absolutely seriously think about it. Would he go? Actually, the other thing they were talking about in the podcast, one of the other podcasts, I think it was Homeboys, just talking around the time of his life and I think he had his young son on the pitch. Given what Lennon's went through, if his young son's about school age, ready to go to school or older, I think he would seriously be thinking, what will my son get put through, etc. So he might actually think, I don't want him growing up in this environment. So it could be something like that. It's just as important as you know as where his next opportunity is.
I thought Neil Lennon was away a couple of weeks ago, but I don't think Neil Lennon's going anywhere.
I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't. But do you know what? If he got offered the Everton job, which I doubt, but if he did get offered it, he would go with my best wishes, and I hope he had every success in the job. I don't think any Celtic fan could. He doesn't owe us anything.
What was it we were saying on Radio Scotland when we were driving over on Friday night?
They were just desperate to get rid of him.
For 45 minutes they were wanting rid of him.
Desperate.
And was it Jane Lewis or something? And then she said, we'll return to the Celtic issue. The Celtic issue in 10 minutes.
It was almost like a crisis.
And then we'll return to the Celtic issue in 10 minutes. I mean, the Everton Davy Moyes leaving Everton. How's that?
I know, he's
Celtic issues.
Desperate to grab onto something. There's an issue. There's an issue at Celtic.
I need to have a word with
It's a
her.
harder issue to
Shocking.
have. Okay, well, thanks for that, guys. We'll move on to our next section.
Shambolic.
Thanks, Chico. So for Shambolic tonight, I threw it to the panel, and I stole this from Twitter, I must confess. Who has been the best football player to have managed Celtic? So, from our long, illustrious history of managers, who was the best player? And I'm just going to run through a wee list of the managers, and there's a couple of managers in there that managed only very temporarily for a short period of time.
Definitely Frank
So we're going to leave them in. Okay, so list consists of Willie Maley, Jimmy McStay, Jimmy McGrory, Jock Stein and Sean Fallon in there for a short period. Billy McNeil, Davy Hay, Liam Brady, Frank Connor, Lou Macari, Tommy Burns, Billy Stark, Wim Janssen, Joseph Venglos, John Barnes, Kenny Dalglish, Martin O'Neill and John Robertson for a short period, Gordon Strachan, Tony Mowbray and Neil Lennon. So what I'd asked the guys to consider was who in their opinion was the best footballer of that lot.
No, who isn't in your list? Did you say Joe Jordan?
Joe Jordan's not in my list, no.
Joe Jordan managed Celtic on a short time.
Was it one game? Maybe two?
Who
The
was the
100% record.
Who was the assistant to?
Liam Brady.
Liam Brady. There they are. Okay, so there's another one. Okay, so who wants to go first?
You somebody else on the list like that?
No, what I would say is when you look at that list in terms of what some of those managers have achieved as players, it's unbelievable. European Cup winners, and obviously Jimmy McGrory with the goals he scored, greatest goal scorer of all time. Kenny Dalglish, most capped Scotland player. He
John
was
Steen lifted the League Cup final in 1957.
Aye, but I mean, he wasn't.
7-1, son.
He wasn't the greatest player. And so I printed off the list today, and because Joe Jordan isn't in my list either.
Is John Robertson on it now? John Robertson on it now?
No, but Joe Jordan obviously scored in 3 World Cups in a row as well.
I mean,
so,
it's
some great players.
William Brady.
Aye, William Brady played Italy for years.
John Barnes was fantastic.
John Barnes, that goal against Brazil.
He's a fantastic player. So, Brian, the question was,
who would I pick?
Who, in your opinion, was the greatest footballer?
It's difficult to say because there's so many of them that I didn't see playing football in the flesh. However, just for his record, you can't go by the greatest goal scorer of all time, Jimmy McGrory of UK football. I didn't see him play, but you see old footage of some of his goals, but I mean just that stat, the number of goals that he scored, it was 530 odd goals in fewer games. Unbelievable. He averaged more than a goal a game.
It tells you there, is it not?
No, that's his
538 and 527 games or something.
That's his managerial record.
What was his managerial record?
Come on.
841 games, won 417 of them. Drew 176 and lost 247. So I don't. He's not got the best managerial record in terms of that, but he didn't. He was.
He's a manager for 20 years or something.
I know, but he was. Celtic won almost nothing during that time. No, I think Scottish Cup and Jock Stein won when he first arrived was the first trophy Celtic had won in many years. So he won the League Cup, the 7-1 game, but he was manager for that. But they hadn't won. They hadn't won 1 week. Here, what he won: 1 league title, 2 Scottish Cups, and 2 League Cups in 21 years.
So you're nominating Jimmy McGrory as 1 vote for Jimmy McGrory
as the best player with his. I can only go in his record. Okay. If I had to go in players that I'd seen, I'd need to say Kenny.
Douglas. Kevin?
Yeah, there you go. No, abstain in this one, I think.
You'll abstain?
I think it depends. You can look at it in different ways as well. From a perspective of what they did at Celtic, if they were a Celtic player, or what they did elsewhere. Kenny obviously did it both. So I think probably Kenny Dalglish is as good a shout as anything. He's won a number of European Cups with Liverpool. He was the darling of the support with things he did for Celtic as well. Won a number of championships. I think it's difficult to see beyond Dalglish, but I always hear that Davy Hay was a tremendous player from a different perspective. Kenny was one going forward, the quiet assassin. He went to Chelsea, left Celtic to go to Chelsea at a time when Chelsea, I think, were kind of they won the double in the early 70s, didn't they? Which was it was only up until recent years. There was only 2 clubs had done it until Man U had done it maybe 10-12 years ago. And I've always liked Davy Hay, and so I think it's probably. I know what
you're saying. You've always liked Davy Hay, but if it was a question about who you liked the best, I wouldn't have picked Kenny Dalglish. It is about the best footballer. I think you need to be cold about it.
I mean, that's a good point well made.
It's easy for you to be cold.
You pick Tommy Burns. No, if it's about who you like the best, you couldn't get a nicer man.
Sure, like Lou McCarry.
Listen, just while is Billy Stark in your list?
Billy Stark's in my list. I said,
I didn't hear
that goal against Rangers and the
Daisy Cup.
The Daisy Cup.
Billy Stark gets it for best hair.
in the centenary years there. So Kenny Dalglish.
Lee Gordon was a
John
good player
Robertson
as
was in
well.
his slouch, near was Gordon Strachan.
He didn't win 3 European Cups, and
Who?
Gordon Strachan or John Robertson.
was scored.
John Robertson won 2, did he?
Kenny Dalglish won 3. How many championships? Countless championships, both at Celtic and Liverpool. How many goals? Record Scottish goal scorer, record number of caps. You can't honestly. There isn't anyone in that list who's better than Kenny Dalglish. Even Jimmy McGrory.
In Europe.
It's a shame as well with Kenny, isn't it? I always.
No, it's not.
Kenny was probably one of my early boyhood heroes. And his stint as Celtic manager has soured my opinion of him.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I think he absolutely dragged the club into the gutter at the time. Some of the things
He had
was
no affection for Celtic and no care for Celtic since he left them.
Yep.
I don't agree with that.
In
In fact, I strongly disagree with it. I think yes, he did his time at Celtic, but to be honest,
he went to Rangers.
His time at Celtic. Sorry, his time in management after he chose to leave Liverpool after the disasters. I think that's probably scarred them more than any effect, because obviously the Hillsborough disaster, and then there was Heysel. He retired, stepped away from it, and he went to every
single funeral,
96 funerals for the Justice for the 96, and I just feel every job he had in management thereafter, he was just.
Understand what you're saying.
He was a Newcastle manager. He was a Celtic manager. I just don't think that when looking at it, he was the same person, to be perfectly honest. So I agree with you, but it was what he did at Celtic has soured. I loved him. Loved watching him, even playing for Liverpool in European Cup finals and scoring against Bruges. Dad was at that game at Wembley. And it's absolutely soured it.
Okay. Pierre?
Me, I would go for Liam Brady.
Liam Brady,
Yes.
good check.
Liam Brady was a fantastic player. Absolutely fantastic player. For natural ability, brilliant. Even conquered Italy. Moved abroad, went to Juventus. He was outstanding with Juventus as well. So, if you're talking about football ability, I agree with what you're saying about Kenny Dalglish, but I think Liam Brady.
Stephen?
I'm afraid from footballing ability, I would need to say Kenny as well. Actually, putting the cold,
And it is,
the cold opinion on it. But obviously, you couldn't without a special mention for Tommy Burns, couldn't you not?
No.
I think we would all agree.
Could you make a team out of that? We could make a team out of that.
Well,
There's some fantastic players on there, isn't there?
That's no goalie.
What about Frank Connor?
Frank
Connor's a goalkeeper, and now you could have Billy McNeil,
Davy
Hay, and Tommy Burns could play at left back as well. couldn't he?
could.
Jock Steen, centre half.
Centre half.
Aye.
And you could have...
What kind of player was Janssen? Janssen won the European Cup,
He was a
didn't he?
fullback. He was a fullback.
He beat us in the
He
European
beat
Cup.
He's the only guy left the European Cup in his nightgown. He puts his dressing goods, sorry.
What about Dr. Joe? Was he a player? Did anyone
He was
know
a
that?
player, but I
Was
don't know to what degree or where he played.
He was an academic.
Well, you'd be hard pushed. Oh, there's Tony
Mowbray.
Mowbray, centre half.
Tony Mowbray's
You've got that's a good shout, Pierre. You've got a good
plethora
team
of
there.
wingers. You've got Strachan and Barnes and O'Neill
Robertson.
and Stark and Robertson and Brady. Jeez, well, Macari. Carry up front with and
Jimmy McGrory.
Jimmy McGrory.
There we are. There was Jimmy McStay. He a
He's a centre half, I know.
midfielder? Just centre half. There's the Arabic.
Midfield. Who did you say? Davy Hay,
No, David Hay was in defence.
Lenny,
Aye, Lennon.
Lennon would be sitting in front of the
Strachan.
back.
Gordon Strachan. What would be Macari? Tommy Burns.
He's up front, Macari.
Brady.
Tommy Burns. Didn't need to have Tommy Burns in there.
As Peter said
That
the
was
best
start.
player ever, William Brady. We've included him in his team.
He's a Celtic. He'd be on the bench.
Okay, well, thanks for that, guys. And I'm just iPads is giving us we're running out of memory, so that'll be us.
It's a bit like Peter.
We'll just wrap it up there. Okay, and on that note, we're just about to wrap up. So just a thanks to our panel tonight, who have been.
What's your name again?
Peter. As long as you don't say the right side of the lights.
Peter.
Kevin.
Brian.
Stephen.
Okay, thanks very much, guys. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.
I want to see the most is the Glasgow Celtic score. I've been to Munich, been to Paris and Berlin. I watched injustice fall upon you in Turin, and I've shared the pain and glory with the friends that I have made as I dance from place to place in green and white on a worldwide tin parade.